Maria, and as Maria mentioned, my name is Kirsten Mueller, and I'm from the University of Waterloo. And the University of Waterloo is known as Canada's Innovation University, and we're located in what is called previously the Canada's Technology Triangle, but what is now known as Canada's Technology Corridor. And so for 27 years in a row, we have been known as one of the most innovative universities within Canada. So where are we located? We are just southwest of Toronto. If you have good traffic, it's about an hour and 10 minutes. If there's traffic, it usually takes a little bit longer to get to us. However, we are a fairly smaller size community. Waterloo is about 110,000 in population, and then combined with Kitchener, you can add about another 200,000 people to that area. So as I mentioned, we are part of what's called the Toronto Waterloo Innovation Corridor. It is a 100-kilometer stretch that is the center of talent, growth, innovation, and discovery. And there are over 15,000 tech companies, 5,200 startups, 16 universities and colleges, and 6 million people that actually called the corridor home. And there's over 150 languages spoken in this area. And it is ranked as in the top 20 technology clusters in the world by Global Startup Ecosystem Report. So our academic strengths here at the university, we have over 180 graduate programs, and I'm not going to go into those because we've talked about those before in webinars. But one of the things I want to stress is that we really have an entrepreneurial spirit here within our graduate studies program, and we connect greatly with that tech corridor that I have already mentioned. We have experience-rich education. We have over 20 graduate cooperative education programs. We also have experiential learning where you get hands-on experience embedded within 20 programs that have required practicums or internships, and also elective courses. We also have incredible amounts of research that are in combination with that Toronto Waterloo Technology Corridor. And a lot of our research is driven by impact. And one of the things that we're really invested in at the University of Waterloo is taking ideas and creating intellectual property. And so we have graduate students that are shaping nutrition policy, building tools for clean energy storage, and using climate change risks to reimagine investment possibilities. And these are all sorts of different things that we have going on here. One of the things that we also have at the university, it's taking a little bit of time to switch the slides here, is a strong startup culture. A really key thing about coming to Waterloo and becoming a graduate student is we have a really distinct policy on intellectual property. And what that means is it gives both faculty members and students ownership over their ideas and technology. So the university does not own the IP that is owned by graduate students and in combination with their supervisors. And we have so many different opportunities for students to develop their own businesses and develop their own intellectual property. And we have a center called Velocity, which is the largest free student incubator in the world in 2016-2017. And we just have a pre-incubator program which provides graduate student startups $20,000 to begin their startup company through a Velocity incubator program. And here are some examples of some of the international reach and influence we have. And I'm just going to stop for 2 minutes here, and you're going to actually hear from our graduate students in this short video.
Being a grad student is really cool and different.
People are very friendly, are very welcoming.
We have a great, vibrant energy.
Being a grad student is really cool and different.
People are very friendly, are very welcoming.
We have a great, vibrant energy in Uptown Waterloo with a lot of life to it.
Because it does have a very large student population, there's a lot of stuff that does cater to students.
There's always like a new cafe popping up or events going on all the time. What I really love about the community in Waterloo is it really is that. It's a community. There's lots of people out running and exploring with their families.
There's a lot of nature. You can feel the serenity.
They have open mic nights, game board nights. We have a rock climbing gym. Most of the trails actually near the university are accommodating to bicyclists.
My experience living on campus has been one that I've really enjoyed. St. Paul's Graduate Housing offers a wide array of married housing.
I live here at the Columbia Lake Village, where graduate students can live in a townhouse around other grad students. I really feel it's a place we can call home.
I came here as an international student and I was really amazed by what a multicultural atmosphere Waterloo has.
I've had the opportunity to make some really good friends and to learn from my colleagues.
Some of the friends I've made only since September feel like I've known them forever and ever. Being at school is a pleasure because we're all there together.
I like the fact that it's a very conducive environment for students. The kids get to play together a lot. It's almost like they get off the school bus and they want to head to the playground.
As a married graduate student, I've had my best friend here to support me through this whole educational process. So any kind of troubles that I might be having with academics or emotionally or whatever, I've got that support with me here on campus.
It has a very cultured, very intellectual community, which I really enjoy.
I really love living in Waterloo. It's so much fun. Lots of green space, lots to do inside and outside, and I just love being here.
Okay, I'll just flip back to the slides here. And as you saw in that video, we have a really vibrant city. We have 2 universities here in Waterloo, as well as a college. There's lots of shops, restaurants, parks, and activities. We're really close to natural areas that are just outside of Waterloo and very close to lots of really amazing provincial and national parks. There's a large number of festivals that are held in the city. Often Uptown Waterloo gets closed down for different music festivals, such as the Jazz Festival. We have blues festivals. In the spring, there are maple syrup festivals where you can go and actually see how maple syrup is taken from trees, and lots of all sorts of different events. Close to campus, we actually have a plaza that has lots of really amazing food sources that ranges from Ethiopian food to Middle Eastern to regular kind of North American pub food as well. And Uptown Waterloo and other parts of Kitchener-Waterloo have really amazing choices in restaurants and bars, and also lots of new bakeries that are opening up. There is a lot of green space in Waterloo. The picture that you see here on the left is obviously one in winter that is coming up soon to us here, and that's very close to campus. There are trails that can take you from Uptown Waterloo right to campus through beautiful forested areas. The Grad House, which it's affectionately known as on campus, is a house that is used for grad students to kind of come and hang out. It is a bar, but also during the day, it really serves some really great kind of home-cooked type meals that you can get there. And that tends to be a place where a lot of graduate students will meet at the end of the day and hang out, and tends to be quite the busy place on Fridays. Other types of activities on campus, well, we have things such as dragon boat clubs. We even have a Harry Potter Quidditch club. There's animal rights clubs, ballroom dancing. A lot of the programs and clubs that are on campus that have been established by undergraduate students are also very welcoming to our graduate student community as well. Sports and recreation, we have a physical activities complex. You can take aerobics, you can do weightlifting, you can have a personal trainer that can help you with any kind of exercise program, and really provide you with balance that you might need during your graduate program here. And we recently had a new field house that opened up 2 weeks ago, and that provides with a lot of recreational and sports events that are going to be held on campus. We are an inclusive and diverse campus. We are here. We have Almost 40% of our graduate students are international students from all around the world. We have an incredible community of people with diverse backgrounds, abilities, and interests, and international students play a very important role in the life of our university. We have lots of resources for students that are here on campus, including graduate students. If you have permanent or temporary disabilities, we have accessibility services to help you with academic accommodations, assistive technology. We have very different faith traditions on campus, and there are multi-faith prayer spaces that are available. And we, as one of the top STEM universities in the world and in Canada, we have a variety of ways for women to connect with other women in STEM programs, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And University of Waterloo is the only Canadian organization to be part of the United Nations He for She campaign, which promotes the activities of women within STEM programs. We also have a lot of resources on campus when it comes to different food choices, and there's lots of people here to support you in any kind of challenges that you may actually find. One last little note here about the cost of living. We are a smaller city. The cost of living in Waterloo is lower than what you may experience in places like Toronto. And then here on this slide, I have an estimated living cost for a single person living in Waterloo. So housing, we're looking at about $600 per month. That is typically shared housing. Food and groceries can really range depending on the type of grocery store you're going to, personal expenses, and so on. Really, cost of living can range between about $1,200 to about $1,500 per month. And this last slide here just kind of shows you one of our green spaces on this campus. This is a beautiful rock garden that's in between our buildings, where there has been some amazing geological rocks that have been transported to the University of Waterloo, and we find a lot of students spend beautiful summer days sitting out in this area. So thank you very much.
Without further ado, I would like to introduce Jasmine Smart and Jennifer Mcdonald from Dalhousie University.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for attending. Jennifer is going to get us started off with this presentation, I believe. Maria, do you know if her audio is set up?
Hold on for a minute, sorry about that.
Sure, no problem. Well, why don't I tell you all a little bit about the presentation we're going to be making. So please, Jennifer, Maria, feel free to cut me off from introducing what we're doing to do what we're actually doing as soon as you're ready. So we're going to be talking about Dalhousie University, obviously. It is located in two cities. The city we're going to be spending the most time talking about is Halifax. 3 of our campuses are located there. Those are the Sexton, Studley, and Carleton campuses. We'll also be telling you a little bit about Truro, which is where our agricultural campus is located. So we're going to tell you a bit less about Truro because the bulk of the people will be coming to the Halifax campus if you're coming here, since Truro is just the agriculture campus. But that said, I hope everyone will take the time, if they come, to visit Truro. They have some really spectacular things. For instance, during lambing season, you can go, and because it's an agricultural campus, you can go visit the sheep barn and see the tiny little baby lambs. You can even bottle feed them if you show up at the right time of year. They also have things like open research days. We take buses of people up from the Halifax campus to the Truro campus. And you could just, if you were out for a day trip or wanted to go for a hike, the Truro campus is directly on a major hiking network. So if you're around the area, take a visit to Truro, do some hiking. My favorite is always seeing the various agricultural sort of practical research labs. For instance, the aquaculture facility is something I have not had an opportunity to see until recently, and it is rather stunning. I am mostly just rambling in the hopes that Jennifer is able to take the first half of the presentation. How are things looking for that?
Hi, Jasmine. So I just granted Jennifer the presenter role, so she should start talking right now.
Oh, wonderful. Then I will stop rambling.
Hi, everyone. So Jennifer is trying to ensure that you guys can hear her. If you don't mind writing down on the chat, Jennifer, I don't know if you can hear us.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hi, everyone. Can you hear me now? Hello.
I believe everyone can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. Well, sorry about that technical difficulty. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Jasmine was telling you a bit about Dalhousie. So let me continue on with what she was saying. So for those of you that don't know, Dalhousie is the member of Caldo closest to the Atlantic Ocean, closest to the eastern Atlantic coast of Canada. So here you just have some statistics about Dalhousie, about our programs. So it's a university, a medium-sized university, about 19,000 students, with a wide variety of master's and PhD programs. Both research and professional programs, with a large amount of in funding in research annually. Now you can see here in this photo, if you look in the background, you can see the ocean. Dalhousie University, the Halifax campuses are right beside the Atlantic Ocean. And this closeness to the ocean really has an influence not only on some of the programs at Dalhousie. Dalhousie has some very strong programs in oceans and ocean-related research, but this closeness to the ocean really affects the lifestyle and what it's like to live in the city of Halifax. And it's a really big part of our lifestyle in the city. Let me just show you here on the map. You can see the little blue circle here. This is the province of Nova Scotia. The province we're located is called Nova Scotia. And as Jasmine was saying, there are two campuses. Dalhousie has, there are 4 campuses in 2 cities. 3 of the campuses are in the city of Halifax, and we also have a Faculty of Agriculture in the city of Truro. But you can see, before I tell you a bit about the cities, you can see this location on the Atlantic coast. Halifax has an international airport. We're approximately 2 hours north of New York, 2 hours east of Toronto, and about 5 hours west of London in the UK. So we're right on the Atlantic coast of North America, and with quick and easy connections to most major capital cities through the Toronto airport, if there doesn't happen to be a direct flight from Halifax. I'm just reading some of the questions. The question, are we allowed to swim? And we'll talk about that in a minute, but the short answer is yes. You are allowed to swim, and you are able to swim in a variety of lakes, oceans, and rivers, some very near the campus. So it's a really lovely place if you like the ocean and the outdoors. So let me tell you now about the city of Halifax. Now, so Halifax is a city with approximately 400 or 425,000 people. And it's the biggest city on the Atlantic Canadian coast. One really wonderful thing about the Caldo universities is you get a really wide variety of different cities and different types of institution. So, for example, you're hearing about today, you're about the University of Waterloo, Dalhousie, and University of Alberta, all of which are in smaller, medium-sized cities. And so what these cities provide is a nice counterpoint or a nice complement to some of the larger cities like Toronto, which is a wonderful place, but sometimes what you get in a smaller, medium-sized city is a less stressful lifestyle, shorter commute, lower cost of living, and closer proximity to nature and to the natural surroundings that that Canada is really known for. So it's a really nice thing to consider. So back to Halifax. As we were saying, it is a city of about 425,000. 3 of Dalhousie's 4 campuses are located in the city of Halifax. One campus, Sexton Campus, which is where engineering and architecture are located, is right in the downtown core. And the other 2 campuses, Studley and Carleton, are only a very, very short walk from the center of downtown. Halifax, for being a relatively small city, has a lot of universities. There are 5 universities in this city. And what that means is it's a very vibrant, alive place. There's lots of students from all around the world. So there's a lot of nightlife, of activities, of research. There's a lot of a big academic atmosphere in this city. So that's one of the strong points of Halifax, in my opinion. And we'll tell you a bit more in a moment about Halifax. But with you notice here, I've described on the slide these campuses in their distance walk from the downtown core. So that's a big, that tells you a lot about the lifestyle in Halifax. We measure the distances by walking. It's a very human city, very compact. A lot of people walk, cycle to get around the city and to get between campuses. I personally walk to the university every day. I walk about a half an hour each way. And so it provides a really nice lifestyle. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Truro. So Truro is the location of Dalhousie's fourth campus, the Faculty of Agriculture, and this is a smaller town. Truro is about 1 hour outside of the city of Halifax. It's a smaller town, and what the big advantage of the town of Truro is first the facilities for the Faculty of Agriculture. So it's the only campus in Canada with an on-site teaching farm. So there are a lot of facilities related to the teaching and learning of agriculture. Now I'm seeing some comments here that the audio is not clear. So I'm not quite sure what I can do about that. So I might continue on, and if you have any questions, if something you weren't able to hear very well, you're welcome to type the questions into the chat box, and from there we can answer those maybe at the end of the presentation. Okay, so back to Truro. Truro is the Faculty of Agriculture is located within a really beautiful small town with a large rural area around it. There's great trails, waterfalls. If you enjoy hiking, mountain biking, canoeing or kayaking, or any type of outdoor activities, it's a really great place to be. The other thing that you get, and you get this with Halifax and Truro, but this part of Canada, the province of Nova Scotia, is famous for the friendly people. Truro was voted one of the friendliest communities in Canada's Atlantic provinces, and even the city of Halifax, which is the big city in this province, is known for the safe, the friendly people, the welcoming community. And so if you come to work, to live, or to study here in Nova Scotia, you'll be met by a very welcoming community, and you can really make some connections, to get to know people, and to connect above and beyond your classmates, your professors. You can make friends within the communities here in Nova Scotia. So that is a little bit about Truro. Now, I think Jasmine is going to tell you a little bit more about Halifax, Truro, and studying in Nova Scotia. Jasmine, are you there?
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Can everyone hear me? Wonderful. I'm glad that the audio seems to be working. As the person who very kindly asked the question about swimming, beautifully set us up for, one of the real joys of Halifax is living by the ocean. So within a 15-minute drive, this time it's a drive, not a walk, of downtown, you can be either in a swimmable lake, and this time of year, let me tell you, the ocean is pretty cold. I'm going to suggest we go swimming in lakes, not the sea right now. But in about a 15, 20-minute walk, you can also drive to a swimmable beach, though I do mention the cold water. You can also walk to Point Pleasant, which is a really beautiful green space. It's a half-hour walk away from the main campus, and there's a beach there. The swimming is not recommended. From the downtown, the engineering campus, it's less than a 5-minute stroll down to the boardwalk, and the medical campus is right in the middle, so I'm afraid it might be a whole 20 minutes until you can get to the ocean. also one of Canada's top 10 green cities. It has some green spaces that are extremely large for the size of the city and also just large. Within a half hour, you can be in Point Pleasant Park, out of view of any buildings, any people, unless someone walks along your path. And it is entirely safe. There's a number of other green spaces around the campuses. The commons are close by. The public gardens are North America's oldest Victorian gardens. They're open to the public. They're stunning. And I also walk to work every day and I cut through the public gardens. It is, as Jennifer said, a really enjoyable lifestyle. Speaking of commutes, I'm not sure how familiar people are with the walking scores, but they're scored out of 100. The Studley campus has a 93, Carleton has a 92, and Sexton, that's the engineering campus, has a walk score of 98. There's only 2 possible points that it could be better. And the median commute distance for Dalhousie students is 2.1 kilometers. There's an increasing system of public bike paths. It's a very walkable city. The downtown core, including all 3 of these campuses, is on a peninsula, so it's beautifully compact and walkable. Jennifer also mentioned that this is a city with 5 universities. We're also the center of provincial government and the largest city east of Montreal. So it's a vibrant city with some excellent music festivals. I hope if people are Googling as I talk, you'll have a look at the Halifax Pop Explosion, which is coming up at the Jazz Fest. And honestly, if you just Google Halifax festivals, there's something pretty much every week. It is an affordable city. So the average monthly rent for a 1-bedroom in the city center, so that's walking distance to any of the 3 downtown campuses, is $975. The monthly rent, if you're willing to take the bus, and included in your tuition is a bus pass, so it doesn't cost you any extra. It's just a matter if you're willing to put in an extra time. $740 a month. And we also have some estimates for 3-bedroom apartments. And for anyone who's living in Truro, it is an even more affordable city. So very much hope that you'll have the opportunity to visit us. And I will pass the presentation back to Maria. Please do ask us any questions you have. There'll be a Q&A at the end. Thank you, everyone.
And Jasmine, without further ado, I would like to introduce Nicole Duarte from the University of Alberta. Nicole, can you hear us? Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. Nicole should be presenting shortly.
Hello?
Hi, Nicole. I think everyone can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Maria. Sorry for that, everyone. Thank you for joining this afternoon. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the University of Alberta and the City of Edmonton. Okay, so University of Alberta, we are ranked in the top 100 universities worldwide, and we're top 5 in Canada. We're number 82 worldwide for graduate employment and number 51 as the most international university in the world. We have 18 different faculties and over 500 different graduate research areas, so there's a lot to choose from. We have close to 40,000 students, with 15% of those being international. But when you look at just the graduate student population, then it's more like 40% range for international students. And we also have the second highest research funding in Canada. So the University of Alberta is located in the city of Edmonton. So it's kind of right in the center of the province of Alberta. So we're about a 3-hour drive north of Calgary and about 3.5 hours from the Rocky Mountains. So Edmonton is Alberta's capital city. So we are the government center of the province. We have about 1 million people. And Edmonton is considered a major economic hub, not just due to the energy sector here in Alberta, but also health and technology is rapidly growing in the city as well. We have a very clean, safe environment and a lower cost of living, as Jennifer was saying, in comparison to some of the other major urban centers in Canada. Alberta is considered Canada's top energy producer, so we do have a very strong economy. And as you can see from the photo there on this slide, we also have a very beautiful natural environment. So that's the Rocky Mountains there, which is a nice quick getaway for the weekend if you want to get out of the city. Now, in terms of temperatures, people are always a bit worried about the weather and winter in Canada. So you can see it really kind of varies. These are the average temperatures, but really in summer it can get as hot as, over 30 degrees. And then in winter we have some colder days as well. Our international students, now they know that, as long as you dress for the weather, you can still really enjoy the outdoors and a lot of the activities that Edmonton has available. So in terms of arts and culture here in Edmonton, Edmonton is considered Canada's festival city. So it doesn't matter what time of the year, even in the winter, there's always something going on, whether it's music, theater, culture. There's always lots to do and check out. We have the Edmonton International Film Festival that's happening right now this week. We also have a huge gallery walk west of downtown. So lots of little local galleries and artists displaying their work. And our downtown has an arts district as well, where you can find a theater, performance hall, the Art Gallery of Alberta, and the Royal Alberta Museum, which is new. It just opened this past year. Edmonton also has a growing number of really excellent restaurants. And believe it or not, we are listed among some of the best pizza in the world. So lots of really great places to check out. In terms of the outdoors and exploring outside, University of Alberta, we're kind of located right next to the river valley, which runs right through the center of the city. And that river valley is connected to a number of parks throughout Edmonton. So we actually have the largest urban park area in North America. So campus is right next to the River Valley Trail system, giving you access to running, hiking, cycling. In the winter, if you want to try out some cross-country skiing or snowshoeing, there's lots of options for you. And if you are wanting to try out some skiing or snowboarding during the winter, we actually have 3 hills within Edmonton. And just outside of Edmonton, about a 20-minute drive east, is Elk Island National Park. So you can go camping, you can check out some of the wildlife, you can see the photo of the bison there. And it's also a great place if you want to get out of the city to check out the Northern Lights. Entertainment, we are very close to White Avenue. It's kind of in the center of the city, lots of shopping, restaurants, nightlife. I live very close to White Avenue and I'm about a 20-minute walk for work, so it's very convenient. We have the largest shopping mall in North America, complete with an amusement park, a water park, and a skating rink. So it's a great option if it's a cold winter day. Go check out the water park and you won't even notice. We also have lots of professional sports teams as well, and a new hockey arena if you want to go check out a hockey game. So a little bit about campus now in the University of Alberta. We do have a lot of world-class facilities, including the National Institute for Nanotechnology. We also have Canada's second largest library collection, technologically advanced classrooms. We have a teaching hospital here on campus and over 400 different research libraries. And in the photo there, although we are very strong in STEM fields, we also have a lot of strong humanities subjects as well. So you can see in the photo the Tim Center for the Arts, which is the best theater training facility in the country. Housing options. If you apply before April 30th, you will be guaranteed on-campus housing. We do have a residence dedicated to graduate students, and you have the option, depending on your budget, if you want to share with another student or live in a single suite. We also have a lot of meal plans available as well. If you're not one to cook or you just find that you don't have the time, that's an option for you also. Sports and recreation. We have 24 different varsity teams. We have the Golden Bears and the Pandas, and we have won 75 national sports titles. As a student, with your student ID card, you have access to all the athletic facilities on all of our campuses. We have multiple campuses. And we have a new recreation center with a new climbing wall. We have swimming pools, skating rinks, and also classes as well. If you want to try out a yoga class or a dance class, then you can get a student discounted rate on some of those classes. In terms of campus life, we have over 450 different student groups and clubs. So no matter what your interest is, you're likely to find some other people on campus who have the same interests as you. We have the varsity teams and intramural sports, if you're interested in that. The Graduate Students Association here on campus is great in terms of advocating for graduate students, and they also have a lot of different grants and supports. So if you want to start a new student group or club, they can help you with that process, and also helping out with funds if you need to go present at a conference for your research, things like that. They really want to support students in being successful in your graduate program. And there's lots of volunteer opportunities on campus as well, whether like with the radio station or different student groups, or welcoming other new international students. So academic supports, we have the English language school. They have full and part-time classes. So if there's something you're wanting to do, you know, if it's just working on grammar or speaking, there are some part-time classes available. We have the Academic Success Center as well. So they have a lot of different workshops and strategies, whether it's working on time management or how to develop a thesis proposal. There's people there who can help you out with whatever you feel that you need support with. We have a Center for Writers. So they assist students with writing groups and free tutoring. And student accessibility services as well. So students who have physical or mental disabilities are connected to proper resources and supports to help you be successful in your program. Health and wellness. So to make it convenient for students, we do have a health center on campus. So you can go see a doctor, get immunizations. We have obstetrics, nutrition as well. We also have a pharmacy on campus. All graduate students are provided with health and dental insurance. That's included in your fees. There's also a counseling program and a community social work team. And the interfaith chaplains as well, so spiritual leaders from a number of different faiths. The International Student Services Center, they have a lot of supports in their office. So they plan the airport pickup and welcome for new students who are just arriving. They arrange a 3-day orientation for all new students. They also have certified immigration advisors. So if you're here and you have questions about maybe renewing your study permit, or maybe you want to think about staying in Canada afterwards, they can answer all those questions for you and help you through those processes. They also have the peer program. So if you're interested in getting connected to kind of get some support for your first year here, and then maybe if that works out, you can be a peer support person as well if you want to help out new international students, just getting to know the city and campus life. So the sponsored student program, that's the program I work with. So I specifically support international students who have scholarships from their home country. So we have dedicated staff that are here to help you if you are, for example, looking for a supervising professor or need help with the application process. We just want to make the process smooth for you, especially in terms of financial matters. Make sure your tuition is paid on time by your sponsor, things like that. We also have a career center on campus to support students and graduates, and students are able to work on and off campus. And there are lots of research and teaching assistant opportunities as well, if you want to supplement your income or just get that experience. And all graduate students now complete a professional development requirement, and you create a career development plan. So this comes into, those high graduate employment rates from Alberta. This is because many of our students are very prepared and they've thought about these steps well in advance of graduation. If you're thinking of coming to Edmonton with a family, there's lots of supports for your partners or children. We do have a childcare center on campus. If you have school-age children in elementary, junior high, or senior high school, so from the age of about, I would say, 5 to 18, there's no tuition fees for children of international students in the government-supported school systems. And in terms of healthcare, if your family is going to be staying here for longer than 1 year, then they will be eligible for the free Alberta healthcare insurance as well. Transportation options. The university has a major bus station on campus, and we also have 2 LRT stations, making it very easy to connect to other areas of the city. And all students are issued a U-Pass, which is like a discounted transportation pass for students, so that you can use any bus or train within the city. And that's kind of included in your fees. We also have an expanding network of designated lanes specifically for bicycles and e-scooters. So even in the wintertime, you'll catch a lot of people out on their bicycles in the bicycle lanes. And we do have a bike library on campus. So if you want to just rent a bike or need some bike maintenance done, or just want to learn more about using a bike in Edmonton, there's some folks here on campus that can help you out with that process. So that's about it for student and city life. In terms of academics, here's the list of faculties that do offer graduate programs here at the University of Alberta. I would encourage you to check out this link where you can find out more, get links to the different department websites, check out what professors are doing, what their research is, take a look at their profiles to see if there's someone who might be a good fit for you. In terms of admission requirements, GPA, depending on what country you're from, a 4 out of 5 or a 3 out of 4 during your last 2 years of full-time studies. And for English, we typically look for IELTS 6.5 or TOEFL 88, but it really depends on the department that you're wanting to apply to. Some might require higher requirements. So just to finish up, YU Alberta, so we're highly ranked, internationally recognized. We have high research funding. We have a competitive and guaranteed tuition rates. So what that means is once you start your program at the University of Alberta, your tuition will remain the same as long as you're doing your program within that time frame, that average time frame. You don't have to worry about tuition increases during your program. Guaranteed on-campus housing, and among the best in Canada for postgraduate employment. So that's it for me. Feel free to send me an email if you have any other questions, but I will turn it over to Maria if we want to get to some questions for the 3 universities.
Nicole. So now it's time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, either general or specific to one color university, you can please write them down on the chat. Kirsten, Jasmine, Jennifer, and Nicole will answer them for you.
I'm interested in answering the question from Maria. Is this how we're doing it? We just name a person and say for answering?
Questions, then go ahead. I believe Kirsten will answer them afterwards, depending on how the dynamic works. But if you want to start, go ahead.
Perfect. So the question is, are there Canadian scholarships for international students? And the answer, I'm going to go ahead and say for all of our universities, is yes. For Dalhousie University, I do encourage you to look at our website. We have a lot of scholarships, and many of them are pretty specific. So I don't know if you are doing a particular area of ophthalmology that has a scholarship, but I do know that we have all of our scholarships listed on our website. Many, though not all of them, are available to international students, and that it's worth taking the time to read through all of them. Some for Dalhousie that I'll in particular point out are the Nova Scotia Research Scholarship. These are scholarships that are not enough to cover your full course of studies. However, there are lots of Nova Scotia Research Scholarships, so as long as you fall within one of their research areas, there's a very good chance of getting one. They are limited to the province of Nova Scotia, so that's why I mentioned them in particular for Dalhousie. The other thing to look at is the Killam scholarships. We have Killam scholarships for both the master's and PhD level. These are highly competitive scholarships that do fund your studies and do have quite a bit of name recognition here in Canada. I'm sure that the other universities would also perhaps like to mention the scholarships they specifically have. So I'll turn the floor back over now.
Hi, and actually for University of Alberta, same thing. There's lots of scholarship opportunities available, but I would also recommend that students, if you're thinking of doing a research graduate program, definitely communicate with the professor who you want as your supervisor, because different professors might have different levels of grant funding and different scholarships available that you might be able to access. So every department kind of has their minimum funding requirements. So I'd encourage you to connect with the professors that you're thinking of doing research with, just to see what opportunities there might be.
Kristen from the University of Waterloo will be typing.
Hector, I see your message about a program for students who don't have the minimum score for TOEFL test. Yes, we do have an English language school, and depending on what level you are, we do have a course specifically for students who are wanting to enter graduate studies. So that's a 4-month course to kind of prepare you. And some of the departments will use the completion of that course as meeting the English requirement.
So just letting you know that Kristen Mueller from the University of Waterloo is answering your questions on the chat. So do not hesitate to type down if you have any questions regarding the University of Waterloo. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jasmine. I'd like to respond to the message from Louise saying that he's interested in a PhD program, but is looking to find out whether or not his wife can come to Canada. So I'm not an immigration consultant, so I do suggest that you take all of my information as being only general and not specific to your case. But yes, certainly your spouse can apply to come as your spouse often. And again, I'm not an immigration consultant. Please either speak to a professional or look at the government website. But often spouses can work. And as Nicole mentioned, if you have any children, your children can come here and be enrolled in the public school system. That's elementary through the end of high school, and there is no cost to that if you're an international student in full-time studies. Maria, are there any questions that you'd like any of us to answer?
So as I said before, you guys can answer whichever questions you guys want. I believe Jennifer took the time during Nicole's presentation to answer some questions. So if you think that you want to add something, Nicole, I don't know if you want to answer any questions. Kristen is currently answering questions through the chat. So do let me know.
Hi, I see the message from Arandi about conditional admission. So there's a few different types of conditional admissions we do at Dalhousie University. I see that Jennifer has already talked a bit about people who have not yet met the ESL conditions. So they could either, as Jennifer mentioned, take the university's own English for Academic Purposes program. You need to secure level 2 with at least an A-, or you can write any of the major ESL tests, IELTS, TOEFL, Pearson, any of the big ones. You will need to get the official test score to us before the first day of classes. So the other kinds of conditional admission that are most common are for people whose degrees are currently in progress. So if right now you're studying, say in your master's degree, you're going to graduate at the end of this semester, but you haven't graduated yet, we can give you a conditional admission saying you're admitted as long as you successfully complete your current degree. And of course, we'll need your transcripts, we'll need something saying that you received your degree. And those are the most common ones. There's a few other special circumstances. For instance, occupational therapy, one of our professional programs, requires one very specific anatomy course. So we'll see people who are conditionally admitted with the requirement that they take that one particular course. I hope this answers your question about conditional admissions. And if there's something else you're looking for, please do type it in the chat.
Jasmine, by the way, I sent a message to Jennifer saying that if she wants to speak, she can speak now. I don't know if she's next to you. I believe not, but she can speak if she wants to add something.
Hi, I see the question from Martha about whether English is the only language spoken in these universities. So yes, at Dalhousie University, it's an Anglophone university. So English is the language of all instruction and administration, with the one exception of the master's and PhD in French. So for both those programs, you still do need to meet the ESL requirements, but you'll take your courses and also write your dissertation in French. I will also say that Alberta and Waterloo are Anglophone universities, but I suppose I should not speak for them, so please do comment if you'd like, either of you.
Yeah, I would say most of the graduate programs at the University of Alberta are in English, but we do have a French campus. It's a much smaller campus, and so they have limited options in terms of graduate programs, but there are some French programs, primarily in the humanities.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's great. Now my sound is working. Yeah, I just noted in the comments as well that English is the language of instruction at the University of Waterloo.
I see the question from Valentin Morales. Is there any scholarship for international students from Mexico? So yes, Caldo has an agreement with CONACYT. So there are scholarships for Mexican students available through CONACYT. And similarly, Caldo has agreements with various other funding bodies in many other countries. So there is probably scholarship available for you, depending on which country you live in. I see a question from Martha Patricia Gomez Garcia. Is there any agreement with the IPN? I'm assuming you mean the IPN in Mexico. Oh, yes, you say there in Mexico. In terms of agreements with individual universities, that would depend on each university. So whether Dalhousie or Alberta or Waterloo has an agreement with IPN. Dalhousie does not have a specific agreement with IPN. But maybe my colleagues can let us know if their universities do have an agreement with IPN.
I would have to verify. This is Kirsten from Waterloo. I'd have to verify if we have an agreement or not. I'm not clear on that right now.
Okay.
And I would also have to check, but I'm quite sure the University of Alberta does not have one.
I see Luis Fernando Delgado Munoz. Is there any scholarship with the students from Colombia? Yes. So Caldo collaborates with various scholarship programs in Colombia, Conciencias, for example. And we will actually be in Colombia at the Caldo will be in Colombia at the CAIE conference, the conference on international education in the Americas, at the end of this month.
My apologies, everyone. I have to leave for another meeting, but if anyone has any other questions for University of Alberta that I haven't addressed, feel free to send me an email and I'm happy to address them.
Hi, Maria. I see that you're interested in University of Waterloo. Please feel free to email me if you have any really specific questions about programs and so on. I'm happy to talk to you about the program, any program you're interested in.
Also, just to answer the question from Maria Cristina Osorio about Panama, Caldo has an agreement with IFARU and also with CENESIT in Panama. So there is another option. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, sorry. University of Waterloo has an agreement with CENESIT.
Orlando Campos is asking, applying for a PhD with a family. As we were mentioning earlier, it's always a good idea to consult with a certified immigration consultant about your individual situation, but in general, students coming to study in Canada on a study permit who have families can travel with their spouse and or children, and they are able to come with them to Canada and accompany them. So once again, please consult an immigration consultant about the details, but that is a possibility.
Thank you for that. I would say the same applies for Waterloo, of course, as well.
Okay, Maria Fernanda Serna Mendoza has asked about the EduCanada fairs in Mexico City. So there will be several Caldo universities at the EduCanada fairs in October 26th and 27th in Mexico City. We'll also be in Guadalajara. I'm just looking up right now, if you give me a moment, exactly where those fairs will be. If anyone has that information on hand, let me know.
Sorry, I don't. Yep.
Okay, I've just found the event information for Mexico. So we will be at in Mexico City at the Sheraton Maria Isabel Hotel, and on Paseo de la Reforma. That's so that will be the at the end of October, the 26th and 27th. We'll also be at the Fiesta Americana Hotel in Guadalajara. And that fair is a few days later on the that is on the 30th of October, Wednesday the 30th of October.
Yeah, also adding up. Hi, everyone. So it's Maria from Caldo, just adding up that do not worry about the specific information. We will promote it through our social media during this month before the EduCanada Fair. So please check our social media for any upcoming information. Thanks.
So this is Kirsten from the University of Waterloo. I also have to head out to another meeting. So I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. And again, my email is listed within the chat there. Please feel free to reach me if you have any questions about the University of Waterloo. Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Jasmine. I have a quick answer for Alex. And that is that certainly you can come as a visiting research student, so that as a maximum of 1 year. And basically what would happen is you need to stay registered at your home university. You would pay only incidental fees, so that's about $130 per term. And you would come here to specifically work with a researcher. So the way to go about that is you can find the details on our website. But the first step is to find a faculty member at Dalhousie that wants to invite you. The other option is if you fit within the ELAB criteria, that could be something to look at. That's the Emerging Leaders of the Americas program. But based on the description of computer and education, I don't know whether or not that would fit within their interest areas. But please have a look. That's a Canadian program used heavily for sort of engineering things that would support something like a visiting research day. I'm also going to head out. I've left my email address in the comments box. If anyone has Dalhousie questions, please feel free to get in touch. Maria, thank you so much for inviting us and for organizing this. And everyone who attended, thanks so much for listening. Have a lovely afternoon or evening.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Jasmine.
you,
If I can get a confirmation from Jennifer that she also needs to go so we can finish this webinar.
I do. Thank you, everyone.